Hello everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Scorpion's Den, PlayStation Plus podcast, where the plus means more. I'm your host Nate, aka Scorp Wild. As always, I want to start out with just a little bit of housekeeping. Last week's episode, I ran into a little bit of a visual formatting issue with inserting clips into Share Factory and things like that, and kind of the order of operations of how you need to do things. So I had a little bit of a hiccup there where I wasn't able to add my intro clip at the front end of the podcast last week, so everything should be good now. I have a better grasp of how you need to be doing your formatting there, so that shouldn't be an issue going forward. That's really all I have for housekeeping, so let's dive right into those topics. Topic 1, first topic of the day. I always like to start off with what I've been playing this past week. And if any of you follow my trophy list or have been following my Twitter feed at all, I got a new VR game for my PSVR headset, and that was Batman Arkham VR. I also, just before recording this podcast, I was able to start Psychonauts Into the Rhombus of Ruin, which is a brand new PSVR title that just came out here 2 days ago. And so I played about an hour and a half to 2 hours of that as well. Those are the two big things that I was playing, aside from, the few matches of Overwatch here and there, just kind of sprinkle that in, of course. So Batman VR and Psychonauts VR are going to be the main topic of the podcast this week. I kind of want to talk about first impressions of those games, as well as just kind of further impressions that I've had with VR in the last couple weeks or so. Last thing of this topic, I always like to give you guys a little update on where I am in my trophy count. And if you've been listening in past weeks, you know that I've been kind of slowly working my way towards the 1,000 trophy milestone, and I am currently, as of recording this now, sitting at 976 trophies. So, not getting there too quickly, but I'm inching my way there, and should hopefully have that shored up here in the next couple weeks. I think with Horizon Zero Dawn coming out this next Tuesday, I'm going to be picking that up right away and diving pretty hard into that. I think that's going to end up yielding most of the trophies that I need to hit that 1,000 trophy mark, and I'm willing to bet that that's going to be when I hit that is during my playthrough of that. So stay tuned. We'll have to see where it takes us. So without further ado, let's talk a little PSVR and further first impressions. Alrighty, first game I want to talk about when kind of giving you guys further first impressions or just impressions in general of what I've been experiencing with PlayStation VR here in the last couple weeks. The first game that I want to talk about is Batman Arkham VR. Now, this is a smaller... I'm going to call it a game. I mean, I think it's a game. There's kind of a beginning, middle, end of the story, albeit a very short story. I really only spent about an hour with this, hour 15 maybe, and that brought me from beginning to end of this story or story arc. So a little bit on the shorter side as far as that goes, but the thing that really impressed me about this game is this really kind of fleshes out some of the visual capabilities that you have with VR. I mean, from the first sequence you have of being in Wayne Manor and standing in front of a piano and talking to Alfred, and subsequently, punching in a few keys on the piano itself and dropping down on an elevator down into the Batcave, and then just getting the suit on and calibrating. It was a pretty fantastic experience, and I was frankly pretty impressed. I mean, it was, I'd heard good things about this before, which is obviously one of the reasons why I wanted to pick it up, on top of being a big Batman Arkham fan. It's really hard to put into words how just visually stunning it is. I mean, I'm blown away, just what else can I say? This one utilizes the Move controllers, which I just this past weekend picked up a brand new pair of Move controllers. Really kind of kicking myself. Really wish I would have hung on to my originals from my PS3 that I'd gotten with Killzone 3, but that's neither here nor there. What are you gonna do? So the Move controllers, there's nothing different from the PlayStation 3 versions. I actually think it's kind of funny that they wrote a new instruction manual that they package with the controllers, and there is a portion that talks about getting them paired with your PS3 as well. So clearly they're just repackaged. I mean, repackaged, and they have an upcharge. It's gonna run you $99.99. So it's unfortunate. I think this is a little bit of a misstep for Sony as far as, PSVR is already a luxury item, and it's gonna cost you at minimum $400, buy-in price. Why are we tagging on another $100 just for a pair of essentially PlayStation 3 controllers? That's a little bit unfortunate, but they definitely are worth it when playing as Batman in this title. I mean, it's very simple. Just use the center move buttons to activate Batman gripping with his hands. So it really is just to pick up stuff, throw batarangs, that sort of thing. But it all felt really good. I didn't really have too much of a problem with it feeling clunky or anything like that. It's all pretty fluid, and I definitely had a good time with it. You're only paired with 3 gadgets total in Arkham VR. You're gonna have the grappling hook. You'll have your sort of like your detective mode. It's like a hand scanner, and then also batarangs, which are attached to the very front of your utility belt. So you're literally reaching down onto your own belt, physically, and clicking that move button and grabbing that batarang and tossing them around, and that was really satisfying and really fun. And there's even a little target practice mini game that you can play in the Batcave, and that's something that I'm going to go back and do. Like I said, the initial playthrough of the story front to back only took me about an hour and 15 minutes, but that only is going to yield you 3 trophies out of the 12 to 15 total that I think are in the game. So there's some other stuff to do, other little things. So I'm going to spend another couple hours. I'm going to go back and clean those up, and I definitely plan on getting the 100% in this game. Obviously, with it being a smaller title, there's no platinum trophy, but I'm completely okay with that. I don't really think that makes or breaks anybody wanting to pick up this title, especially for PlayStation VR. There's not to say that there's a lacking number of titles, but this is definitely one of the better ones that people should be picking up and should be playing. And the fact that if you already have the VR headset, and hopefully you already have the Move controllers, this title is only going to set you back $20, and it's worth every penny, I think. So, that being said, let's talk about another $20 title that I recently picked up and played for the first time just earlier today, and that is Psychonauts Into the Rhombus of Ruin. Final topic of the day, Psychonauts Into the Rhombus of Ruin on PlayStation VR. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to call it Psychonauts VR. That's a little bit easier to say than that rather long title. So, straight away, Psychonauts VR. I never played the original Psychonauts on PlayStation 2, but I pre-ordered this game, and it came with a free copy of the PS2 classic, Psychonauts. So I started that. I played it for about an hour. I didn't get very far into the story or anything, so I'm not too familiar with the characters and kind of the world that Psychonauts is set in. And with this title, you're going to miss out on some, quips and other sorts of, essentially inside jokes that you'll pick up on from the original story. That's kind of what I've been getting the vibe of. But all in all, I don't think you really need to have played the original Psychonauts to enjoy this. This is just it's a really just fun, quirky, just all around good time. I was just trying to explain to my wife that, her not being a gamer, I think this would be, it's definitely a title that I want her to try out and experience a little bit. And so the way that it's set up, this is another one of the titles that it's stationary in nature, where you're in a set position within the world, and you're able to move your head around and look around, and then also interact with the environment, which I happen to be enjoying, and Batman Arkham VR is set up the same way, where you move from point to point by clicking on, there's little fast travel points or teleportation points, whatever you want to call them. So Psychonauts uses this in the sense that you are, a hero with psychic abilities, and so you can hop into the minds of, anybody in the room and kind of see things from their point of view, which it makes navigating the map feel really pretty natural, and it's a good time. It's kind of interesting, being an adult who's standing, being really tall, and then hopping into the mind of a kid or a smaller animal or something like that, and just seeing the change in perspective. It's really pretty neat, and I'm definitely enjoying it so far. The big takeaway for me too is that this is a really entertaining title, and the story is definitely longer than Batman VR. This is supposed to clock in at right around 3-ish hours, depending on whether or not you get stuck on puzzles or whatever the case may be. And I haven't gotten too badly stuck on anything. I'm currently, I would say I'm probably halfway to 2/3 of the way through the story, and I've already popped 4 trophies out of a possible 12 to 15 I think there is with this one as well. And I would imagine most of these are story based, with only there's a couple that there are certain tasks you have to do that are kind of little side things that could potentially be missable. So again, it's not one of those titles that's too overly long, but it kind of lends itself to telling people that off the bat with a $20 price point. And again, this is another title that I think you're getting plenty of gameplay. It's good gameplay too. It's a lot of fun. It's well made, it's stylish, the dialogue and everything is entertaining. It's an entertaining story, even if you haven't played the first Psychonauts and you're not enveloped in that world and kind of inundated in all that lore. I don't think you really need that. I think it probably lends itself to being funnier than it already is, which it's actually kind of funny as well. So I'm definitely having a really good time with it, and I can't recommend this one enough. And if you were fortunate enough to pre-order and get the free copy of the original Psychonauts, I think that's just a bonus. This is actually kind of doing the reverse for me, where I just scratched the surface of the original Psychonauts from PS2, but after playing a couple hours of this, it actually makes me want to go back and play the original and kind of see if I can pick up on the jokes that they're trying to tell in the VR game, and just kind of get more enveloped in this world and wanting to know more about it, and just generally having fun with it. So I think it's definitely doing itself a favor of bringing Psychonauts as a world and those characters out into the open again, and just kind of get back into the front of people's minds. I know that Double Fine has been actively developing Psychonauts 2, and while there's no release date or anything like that, I think this is definitely a great little stopgap for the original came out something like 10 years ago, and then they just put out this VR title, and hopefully we'll have the next full-fledged Psychonauts game, regular PS4 game, maybe within the next year and a half, who knows. It's a really good time, and I would definitely recommend, if any of you have VR out there and you're looking for something else to play, in VR, I can't recommend this one enough. It's a good time, and it's definitely well made, and it's just very entertaining. This is definitely one that anybody, even if you're not a gamer, I think a lot of different people would get a lot of enjoyment out of this. So, like I said, $19.99. It's out now on the PSN store. I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I think you guys should play it. Well, this is going to do it for me this time, guys. Last couple episodes have been a little bit on the shorter side, trying to keep them a little bit tighter, hopefully a little bit more concise. I know that, podcasting time to listen to podcasts are, it's at a premium these days, and I know I'm not the only podcast you listen to, but hopefully I'm one of them. So I hope that you liked this podcast. Hit that like button, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate anybody that would want to subscribe to go ahead and do so. There is that bell. When you turn on that subscription, hit that bell. That'll give you notifications anytime I post any videos. For the most part, it's going to be this podcast, and that's going to go up every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys don't feel the need to subscribe but still want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Scorp_wild. Please go ahead and do that. I'll post every Friday morning when the new episode goes up. You can follow me there. Until next time, keep on gaming.